So guys, what's up? Charlie here. Today I'm...
Start again.
Guys, what up? Charlie here. Today I'm with my man.
Hey bro, how's it going, man?
Lenny.
Good to be here.
Hello,
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And you know, he's one of my best bros. Unfortunately, he lives in another city.
Yeah.
And we don't see each other that often, but when we see each other, we talk about amazing stuff.
Yeah,
so
totally. It's always a pleasure.
Always awesome. So I was like, come on, let's record something.
Yeah. Let's shoot a bit. Let's hang out, have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the talk.
And what I want to talk about in the beginning here is, because I know you are a big enthusiast about Stoicism,
right.
philosophical view. And I also use it in my own life. I totally love it. But it's not something I talk about a lot because I don't have a lot of knowledge in this area. So it'd be cool if you could start with that and then go with the flow and talk about other stuff.
Cool. So yeah, basically, I don't want to like dive too deep into it because like you can Google it, like Wikipedia is awesome for that to get a brief overview. But to give you a short idea, so in Greek antiquity, you had like the Hellenistic age, you had like these four schools of thought. Epicureanism, Stoicism, Skepticism, and Cynicism. And like all of these like four schools of thought, they each want to achieve like one goal, which is like a calm state of mind called apatheia in Greek. So you want to be like chill, happy, and like don't worry too much, like be at ease. So they want, and like the approaches varied, and like Stoicism was like one approach and probably the most successful in terms of like popularity, because like lived on, and like we still talk about it today, and like for me it's like still super relevant. And that's like the crazy thing, that you read these old authors and it's still super relevant. So what they approach was is basically you don't want to, like, to achieve this calm state of mind, you don't want to avoid pain. Like that would be like one approach, like maybe like just avoid pain as good as possible.
But most people do actually nowadays, yeah.
And like resist pain, like just kind of avoid it. And Stoics say like, no, pain is certain, suffering is optional. So, or I mean, that's not a Stoic quote, but like that sums up the idea quite well. So you just like train yourself like, if I face adversity, if something, because that's gonna happen, I just remain calm. Like, I don't know if it's that of a fixed expression in English, but in German we have it like, having like being, or like stoically calm, like stoische Ruhe. So if you train yourself like to remain calm whatever happens, and like anything external, so I know internally I have the option to remain calm, like train my mind. And it's like they'll go different ideas there, but that's like the basic idea, remain calm, because like embrace pain, adversity is fine, like just deal with it and like use it actually in your advantage, like kind of like obstacle is the way.
Yeah, I mean what I really like about this philosophy is they don't try to avoid adversity. Because what I see in social media or in media in general is you get conditioned to avoid adversity.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your parents tell you, don't go outside, it's dangerous. Don't do this, don't do that. And in Stoicism, I guess they also say it shapes your character. Exactly.
Like, I mean, like the times you most probably learn the most is times of adversity. I mean, there are several quotes on that. Kind of like obstacles the way. So if you face struggle, if you have like going through difficult times, that's where you see where your boundaries are. It's kind of like life starts out of your comfort zone, and if you always remain in a safe place, that's nowhere to grow. Like how you want to grow outside of that if you never how you want to push your boundaries if you don't know where your boundaries are, and you only see them. Kind of if you push towards that, and that means being a bit edgy as well. But I mean, like Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, was probably the most famous one.
Who was he?
Marcus Aurelius.
They don't know him. Who was he?
He was a Roman emperor in the 2nd century AD. And so yeah, he was one of, like, considered one of the best of famous emperors. And like, he's like what really interesting, or like the Stoics, what really is interesting about them. They came of all sorts of social classes, and we have like Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, like, let's say, like the most powerful man in his time, of the most powerful state, or whatever you want to call it, like empire you want to call it. And we have like Seneca, who was an aristocrat, so filthy rich, so to say. And on the other hand of the spectrum, we had what the fuck was his name?
Nero?
No. Well, Seneca was an emperor. Nero was an emperor, and Seneca was like kind of like a counselor.
Yeah.
Epictetus, right? He was a slave, actually. So we have like from all sorts of spectrum. So that's something that's so interesting about Stoicism. It's so applicable no matter where you are. If you're like filthy rich, or if you're like pure. Am I allowed to curse? Actually,
What?
Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you're like filthy rich or like poor as fuck, it doesn't matter, because like with the teachings are so universal, and it's so interesting to read stuff of Seneca, Epictetus, or
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius, or Rufus, or even Zeno, the founder of the school. They are so contemporary, still valid. So like if you read that stuff now, like you can apply that one-on-one into your direct life. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like the topics they talked about are like obviously like very, very broad, but it was always like based on being applicable. And like I think like the problems we actually face didn't change that much. It's like these are human problems. Like, how do I deal with bad things? Like if someone dies, how do I deal with death? A huge topic in Marcus Aurelius' work, and as well as Seneca. And the answer there is like, it's just a part of life. Like we somehow randomly, we are, if you can add that like to the physics of the Stoicism. So randomly we are assembled like atoms, like out of chance, out of luck, they assemble together and form one human being. And they remain together for a certain period of time. Like it can be 1 year, 2 years, 100 years, or whatever. And then they disperse again. And that's just law of nature. So why, and that's a huge thing. So like you want to live, or like one key pillar of Stoicism is you want to live in according to nature. Yeah. And death is an inherent part of nature. So why should you have a problem with that? So you just accept it. And that's, I think that's the biggest, like if you like want to put Stoicism like maybe in one word, then it's like, for me, it's acceptance.
Yeah, dude.
And that's the whole thing with like how to deal with pain. You just accept it. And that doesn't mean like you remain passive or anything. Actually, it's like a really active approach, so to say. You don't remain just like passive and chill and like, oh yeah, pain is happening, okay, just like don't leave my room. It's more like you go out and like you can deal with everything. So like you can take whatever action. It's like actually like really like freeing. Like I know I can deal with it. I will just if something bad comes into play, I will just build it into my path, so to say. So I don't know, like let's say like a tree falls into your road, like and blocks your way, but like next to it is a river, so you would like kind of like use the tree to chop like a boat and like use it like in really like a metaphorical way, but like use whatever comes in. So you accept it, you embrace it, and yeah, like it's so applicable to everything. So like you see it as a part of nature. So
yeah, it's super interesting because how I use Stoicism in my own life is super simple. Everything that happens, I try to accept it as good as possible. And when something quote-unquote bad happens, I use it as a way to train my mind to stay calm and positive. And that's also what, I guess, they also say that. They say there are some virtues in Stoicism, and the goal of Stoicism is to train these virtues.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know everything by heart, but for example, self-discipline, self-control, stuff like that. So I also apply that with my YouTube channel. Like, I wanted to have 1,000 subscribers at the end of 2016, beginning 2017. I didn't achieve that. And then I was like, okay, that's a good way to train my mind to stay positive, to keep going. And then I can use my trained mind later on for other things. And that's what Stoicism is talking about. It's an awesome reframe when bad things happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So many people are have so much resistance when such things happen. Like, oh no, this is bad. I don't want to feel that. And just amplifies it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, whatever you resist persists. It's that kind of thing. So if you really like train yourself to like just let go of it and accept it as it is in the moment, like this whole notion, like Eckhart Tolle-ish kind of stuff, there are like a lot, especially like I can actually like, well, let's get like kind of like practical. We can use quotes, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so Seneca said the whole future lies in uncertainty, live immediately, for example. So again, there's this notion of just live in the moment, accept whatever comes, don't worry about it, like what happens next to it. So what is now, it might be bad, it might be good, whatever. Just embrace that. I think like that's one part of it, this whole acceptance, but what is a bit like a danger, or I see in, and like I struggle with this kind of notion sometimes as well, is if you just like accept everything bad that happens, and yeah, maybe like you use it to better or like train yourself or whatever. It's like because you become so chill and at ease with everything, you become like genuinely happy. On the other hand, like you want to get active and like be like do shit and like achieve things, and like well, like the question like popped into me is like, if I am content with what I have now, why doing something?
Yes.
So like there's like kind of like this paradox you kind of need to solve for yourself. And what helped me was like, it's more about being inspired to do certain things. Like you don't need to do things and being inspired. And what Stoics have is really this kind of like self-discipline. It's like you do what you're made to do. If I may quote something by Marcus Aurelius, which I feel like, this by the way, a good book, it has like a daily Stoic quote, and then like it's like one page, so you read it like every morning, for example. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just like one thought for the day to carry around with you. I think it was like,
I'm actually listening to it on Audible. It's amazing.
Yes.
Every morning when I go to work, it's great.
Yes, it was about like if you have like kind of like trouble to get up in the morning.
I guess I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, actually I would know like where it is in the actual book.
Nice, man.
Well, it's like Marcus Aurelius, so he was like the Roman emperor, as said, and like obviously he sometimes struggled with getting up in the morning, and can't find it. But
even he struggled with that.
Yeah, like and like what he's like meditation's the only work we have left for often writing chapter ideas. So he like the way he wrote meditations is like rather short sentence notes to himself, and like kind of like just he wrote down his thoughts like in the night what he had. And it was like, no, it was like, you can, if you read, you see like he is explicitly addressing only himself. So he never made it like to be published. But like luckily, it survived the time, so to say. And so he, like in the, when he wrote it to himself, like, on those mornings you struggle with getting up, keep this thought in mind. I'm awaking to to do the work of a human being. Why then am I annoyed that I'm going to do what I'm made for? The very things for which I was put into this world. Or was I made for this, to snuggle under the covers and keep warm? Is it so pleasurable? Were you made for pleasure? In short, to be content or to exert yourself. So it's like, what are you actually made for? Like, it's like, do your work, and your work is to be in accord with nature. That's why you're made for, being in accord with nature, to do what a human, to be virtuous. And like the Stoics where you already, I mentioned it, like self-discipline, remain calm, discipline, self-control. Yeah. I mean, like they're not like kind of like not like 10 Commandments or anything, but like these are like you get the direction of like power of will, like stuff like that. So that's like what it comes down to, and
Yeah.
like it really, really helps. Like in different layers, I would even say, like you have this like self-acceptance and thing, and on the other hand, you have this like this willpower thing. So like, yeah, it's fine to remain chill and calm, but do your shit, bro.
Yeah, when it's time to hustle, you should hustle.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like it's not about like, oh yeah, I'm free and accepting, so I can like snuggle.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, well, I have to pay my rent, but like the bills are due. But it's all fine. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's still about like, yeah, grind and do your shit,
Yeah.
whatever you're passionate about, and that's like something like this combination. Is something like that really like got me thinking. So that was like kind of like cool.
Yeah, I mean, what really fascinates me is all these big principles are present almost everywhere. Because even like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about do what you're made for, know your strengths, you know. And then in Stoicism they talk about acceptance and also these virtues. Eckhart Tolle talks about no resistance. And it's crazy how all these guys speak and talk almost about the same stuff, just more other...
different times, different angles, but it's the same.
Yes. And the more you are into this stuff, you realize that. And then you can solve it for yourself. And then as soon as you realize that, you have a clear mind. Because I see so many guys also on YouTube asking questions like, how do I do this? How do I know my purpose? How do I, all these questions. And I realize, okay, they haven't like figured it out yet. But as soon as you read this stuff, sometimes it just clicks. Oh, I should hustle, but at the same time, I should accept myself. It's a huge pattern.
It's like kind of a paradox, but I think like the more paradox, like in your head, you can solve for yourself, the more grounded you kind of get. Because like the world is not like linear and like it's not a mathematical equation or anything. So if you can like solve the problems in your head, and maybe it's just like your own reality, but like as long as it works for you, and it achieves the overall goal like of a calm mind, which I think like we should aim for. I mean, like there's like different philosophical answers to what's the purpose of life. If you would say like, or like a very Aristotelian answer is like to pursue happiness. Or to achieve happiness or whatever happiness may be. But like generally it's thought of this like state of apatheia, which is like no desire, no pain, calm of mind. So if it's that, but like if you talk to Nietzsche, for example, it would be more like the power of will, which is more in terms of like having the freedom to express yourself fully, like total freedom of expression. That's more like the power of will in his terms, or. I mean, that's the thing about Nietzsche. Like they were like through the centuries, they were all like different answers. What's the purpose of life? But I think like we need to figure out, for yourself. And I mean, like after all, they're not that very different. Like if you look at from a like kind of like
bird's eye view.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you look from a bird's eye view, it's well, if it's like freedom of expression or total happiness, like where's the fucking difference in general of happiness and freedom? Like for me, it's basically the same. If you have the freedom to do whatever you feel like, and that's actually equal of a calm state of mind. If you think about like how do you feel, not what exactly these words mean, so more like what's the state of you are in if you have the freedom to do everything. Well, that's like a calm mind. So like, if you think about like, well, how do you feel? It's basically the same for me. It's the same. Like, maybe not in literate terms, like if you define it, but if you focus on the feeling of the human, it's the same for me.
I mean, what I also like about Nietzsche is he talks about, I guess in English it's also Übermensch.
Like they're like different translations of it, but it's called actually like Übermensch.
And he talks about how to disconnect from social conditioning. And Stoicism also talks about that. In Stoicism, they say your mind is your biggest asset. So keep your mind clear so you can take your perspective on situations, because it's not just the situations that make you unhappy. It's your perspective on the situation.
Exactly.
And Nietzsche also says, be an Übermensch, have the will to also choose your perspective. And Eckhart Tolle says the same. It's weird. You read this guy, they always say the same shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, like Stoicism and existentialism, which Nietzsche is, or you could count Nietzsche, I mean, it depends a bit like on your view as well, but like existentialism is not that different actually from Stoicism. Like it has a super different angle, but like the outcome is basically more or less the same.
Yeah.
Like existentialism focus obviously solely on the human being and stuff like that, and the very existence of that. But as I said, like the outcome is basically the same. It's different approach. With Stoicism, what you just mentioned with like detach yourself from social conditioning and stuff like that. I think like what Stoics, or why it's so applicable for filthy rich guys as well as the super poor, is that you detach yourself from everything that's out of your control. Like the thought of like know what you can control and know when you cannot control. If you know these things, you achieve so much. Like Epictetus as a slave, he said, well, what can I control? Or like, let's say Viktor Frankl.
Yeah, I just had it for as well.
Like in every situation, like in Viktor Frankl, for the guys who don't know, he survived a concentration camp, and he's a psychiatrist. So then he wrote about like his experience and like his learnings. So and he said like in every given situation, you remain one thing, and that's the last human freedom. Nobody ever, no matter how small you say, like you sell or whatever it is, no matter how bad it is, you have one freedom, and that's to choose your attitude.
Yes.
And that's, nothing can take that. Nobody never will be able to take that away from you, unless you get killed, but then it doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah.
Because they have you avoid into nothingness. But yeah, like that's the thing, you remain. So like, if you realize what's in your control, basically that's only your attitude and your mind.
Yes.
And if you realize that, like your attitude towards the situation, that's the only thing you can control. And like that's exactly goes into this whole notion of acceptance. But as well as like you realize that you don't need to depend on anything external. So that comes into this whole like wealth and like material. No, not just like wealth, health, and
relationships.
Exactly, not just that. Well, you can like nail down each pillar as well. So let's say wealth, like you don't depend on like fancy cars, big houses. So this whole materialistic world becomes irrelevant. If you have it, nice to have, embrace it, enjoy it while you have it. Of course, go for the fancy cars. Like, I mean, it's fun to drive them. Like,
the Hollywood Hills, right?
Yeah, like it's fun to drive up the Hollywood Hills and like with the new Lamborghini, but like after all, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like, you can like even say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna die, so what the fuck does it matter?" But like, as long as you can, why shouldn't you enjoy it? Like, it's nice to live in a nice house. It's nice to have like, I don't know, like private cooks and like stuff like that. I totally get that this is nice. Like, we don't need to talk about like, no, distract yourself from the world, like extract yourself from the world. Don't get distracted.
Go in the cave, you know.
Yeah, live in your own cave. Like, well, if I have a shitload of money and like, I mean, like if I earned that with like honest work and like helped a lot of people, I mean, like, why shouldn't I get paid for it?
Yeah. And
like, why shouldn't I fucking use that money for good purpose, but like to have fun as well. Like, I mean, like, there's nothing bad inherently. It's always about like the place you're coming from. If you want to show off and like need the validation you get from that, then like that's obviously a problem. But that's the wealth, and I think like by now like everybody gets that like external validation from like money things, from like things you possess, is nothing that will achieve your happiness and a calm state of mind. Like, you will always worry about like what's the next thing to get, and like, is it really cool enough? Is that big enough? Like, oh no, he has a bigger jet, like I need a bigger jet. Or like, he has a bigger yacht, so I need to buy a bigger yacht. And he has more girls, so I need to get more girls. But on the other hand, like, it's, or let's say if you wanna like be at ease and so you wanna relax, and you use, let's just say, meditation for that. If you actually depend on meditation to achieve that, it's something external.
Yes.
It's something from like you need to do And the thing is, like, realizing you're already there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you most probably won't find an exact quote saying that, like, you're already there, like, you're already happy. In Stoicism, I can't remember finding that kind of notion, but it is in that whole notion of acceptance and don't rely on anything external.
Yeah.
It's like, it can be taken away from you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to, like, law of attraction, of course, like, if you remain positive, yes, you will get there, more likely, but like, it just, it's there, and it could happen. So, like, people could be mean to you. Like, Marcus Aurelius talks a lot about that. Like, yeah, you will face people that they despise you, they hate you, and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Here's even one quote which I really like someone despises me, that's their problem.
Oh, nice.
So it really is, like, it's again something external. So if you rely on, like, the public perception of you, like, I mean, like, even he as an emperor, like, I mean, like, he couldn't rule with that, like, he had to keep, like, the public in mind, obviously, so otherwise he had, like, riots and shit. But after all, like, he couldn't depend on, like, the public opinion on him. Like, he had to consider it, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's just, like, good governance. Like, you want, like, if you're, like, a ruler, you want to take care of the people of your, like, ruling, obviously. Yeah. But, like, after all, he had to make unpopular decisions, like the whole Marcomannic Wars. Like, Google Marcus Aurelius, like, super interesting. His life. He actually grew up as, like, this, like, book nerd, like, totally. And then during his reign, he was actually forced to go to war. Like, totally not what he wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, totally not his thing. And he lived his life in camps, doing campaigning in Germany. So, like, nothing what you want to do, but he did it, and, like, he excelled on it, even though, like, he was super successful with his campaigns, but that's not what he wanted to do. Like, not at all. Like, he probably would have, like, enjoyed, like, reading and philosophizing and stuff like that, and make good policies, like, still be a good ruler. But he was not prepared, actually, for, like, campaign life, and he still did it. So that's really fascinating. And Epictetus, who was a slave, is such a good example as well. Like, he was a slave, and he embraced, and he excelled, and he wrote, and it's so fascinating. And, like, it's really this whole notion again of, like, where you kind of control what's inside of. And once you figure that out, like, I don't know, it's like, for me, like, kind of like, I felt like an onion, which, like, different layers were, like, pulled away from me while I was reading Meditations. And
great book, man.
Yeah, and it's like, you really felt like you become calm and easy because, like, you really realize it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, with 9 degrees Tyson, this whole notion of, if you look up in the sky and, like, you see, like, your void and nothingness, it become, like, super small. And on the other hand, like, you realize, like out of, like, this whole nothingness, my life somehow, came to existence. So that's, like, something really unique. So you feel like, really unimportant and really unique at the same time. That's so cool.
Yeah. What I also want to add to that is, I talk a lot with people. I'm really a curious guy. I like to see how people think. And I hang out with really spiritual people, but also really business-oriented people. And somewhere, spiritual people, they also get some of these points, but then they say, okay, I don't need the materialistic things because it doesn't matter anyway. But my belief is I cannot be really spiritual as soon as I tasted these materialistic things. And also with my YouTube journey, one reason why I want to become bigger on YouTube is not because I need it. I mean, now I have 800 subscribers. I'm really grateful for them, for everybody.
Props for that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And perhaps then in a year I have 8,000 or something, or 1,000. But the thing why I want to do that is I want to get more pressure from the outside, criticism and everything, because more people know me. So I can also evolve in my virtues, also like Stoicism kind of way. So not doing it because I need it, but I want to experience it so I can grow through that process.
That's kind of like
what I mean?
Kind of using it as a leverage.
Yeah. And that's the reason why people don't get it. People are like, dude, why are you doing that YouTube thing? I mean, it's cool, but you're not that big. Do you want to get money? I'm like, dude, it's fun. It's a journey. It will help me to grow. It will help me to develop these virtues. That's the reason I'm so passionate about it.
I mean, like, you have, like, this leverage of doing things as well as, I was just say, like you just enjoy what you do. So
Yeah.
like through that process, you just learn stuff like, I don't know, like this whole camera thing. You most probably, before you started YouTube, you knew way less about cameras and stuff, or like about video editing, like stuff like that. And you never know if you might be able to use that in some sort of way.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. By the way, you mentioned the law of attraction. I want to hear your opinion, because some of my bros are really into that, some less. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, like, there's obviously nothing you can prove, right? But I think, and I experienced that like in different situations, but if you have something you wish to have, like if you are positive about things, you subconsciously behave in a way which makes it kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's say you see the world as a hostile place, as negative, and like people get mad at you, and they want to like stab your back.
Everybody's against me.
So like it's me against the world. Like if you have like that type of person, you subconsciously will treat people like, you will get suspicious and stuff like that. So you subconsciously will behave differently. So you will like kind of like make them betray you because like you don't trust them.
Yes.
Inherently. And so yeah, that's my point of view. And if you just like treat people open-mindedly, open, welcome, you will meet more people, and you will attract, I think, like-minded people. If you're like a positive and outgoing guy, let's say, I mean, like I think like we all want to have like positive people around us. So if you hang around people, like if you're like close-minded, like angry, me against the world type of guy, do you really think like positive people will like to spend time with you? Most probably not. So you kind of like surround yourself more, like you will have people around you that reinforce that negativity.
Yeah.
Because like a like goes alike, so to say.
Definitely.
So yeah, if you want to become like a positive guy, and like just by being a positive guy, you will automatically attract it. Like it's just things will happen. So if you can like analyze that, I never seen like the red studies about it, but I think like if you behave in a certain way, or like want to achieve something, like your subconscious will find a fucking way.
Definitely.
And like kind of like that's something I've really experienced like a couple of times. Like the monster appears as soon as you're ready for that lesson.
Yes.
And that's so, and there's again, subconscious comes into play. Like you subconsciously realize that's an opportunity, and you jump on it. Like if you would like in a different place and time and a different state of mind, like you could watch the same YouTube video. It just like wouldn't pop. You wouldn't just like dive into it and like read all about it. Like it just like, it wouldn't be so captivating as it would have been like on a different time. So if you're ready for that, and I think like that's something that's really that you start to kind of like, if you attract that things, or you should become more aware of that, because like your subconscious is ready for that. And really, I think like it's really a lot with the subconscious, has to do with the subconscious, that you just attract things. Because like there were some studies, I heard about it in the podcast, where like optimist versus pessimist, and optimists just see the, like in it's business related, and that's like optimists just see the business opportunities better than pessimists, because like they see like, it might grow, and like that's good, and like let's do it, so it will pop, like they're positive about it, and they see these opportunities, just they see it, so therefore they kind of attract it, so to say. And it's again subconsciously, you just see that, you realize that your reticular activation system like kind of like is aware of that. So that's like my kind of like thought of it.
I also believe that there's also a good video about it from R.S.D. Tyler, like Brain and Lane. And he also says, I really think the same actually, he really says that our brain actually knows with how much paradox we can deal with, how intelligent we are, what kind of opportunities we have, and it's always adjusting to that. And as soon as our brain realizes, oh shit, there is an opportunity for him, you get the awareness. Bam. But then also you can also attract consciously if you also visualize, I believe. There's a book about that, You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza.
I heard about it.
And also like one is called How to Stop the Habit of Being Yourself. He talks about how to change your emotions and your thoughts. Big. And this is a thing I never talked about in public, but it's amazing. So what he says is, we as human beings are addicted to our emotional states. Because we have receptors in our body, in our brain. And the more angry we are in our life, the more we crave this angry emotions, bad emotions. And then also we will generate the thoughts to experience more of these emotions. An example from my life is for a long time in my life, I have been a little bit of a afraid guy. I'm naturally a little bit afraid of things, you know. So my body is trying to generate thoughts that attract or produce, better to say, this emotion, so I can maintain my emotional addiction to that. And how I solved that in the past is I visualized myself being totally calm in different situations, being totally chill, and then your brain cannot distinguish between visualizations and real life. And then you will generate thoughts that create these new emotions, and you can change that. And this is so mind-blowing. We as human beings are always addicted to our emotional states and will create thoughts that generate these emotional states. So it's amazing to think about that, because then I was like, shit, man, I actually don't have a lot of free will. It's weird. I have a little bit of free will, but not a lot. Sam Harris also talks about that.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Two things in that. One regarding the free will, but remind me if I forgot to mention that. That's interesting. I mean, really super relates to our topic. And second, with the visualization and this whole thing. So, and it's like you're attracted to what you already have, or like attached to what you already have. I think like it's super sick that you think like that was what it makes so hard to change. It's like you subconscious wants to remain what it already is, and that you can link that back again to comfort zone and stuff like that. Like push to the edges, but like that what makes it so hard, because like you subconsciously seek out opportunities to reinforce. It's like kind of like a confirmation bias. You want to believe what you already know. And nothing beautiful. Nothing beautiful. Seneca says it's hard to learn something you think you already know. So yeah, it's like hard to teach someone or something you think you already know. So somewhere like that. So it's again like, yeah, if you think you already know something, like you've got to reinforce it. So kind of like this confirmation bias, you will, if you have like a text and like you believe that, you will kind of like see, or like this whole, how do you call it? This horoscope things like with the zodiacs. Like you predict your future based on your zodiac. So you have like this in the newspapers, right?
What do you mean zodiacs?
With zodiacs, like, you know, if you're a Virgo or like a Lion. Yeah, it's like star signs.
Team Virgo checking in, by the way.
Yeah. So, if you read those, like this like text that predict your future, and they are like written in a way that you see yourself in it. And that's like just like using confirmation bias.
Definitely.
So like you see like if it's written like, yeah, you're an honest person, like nobody would declare himself as a dishonest person, obviously. Yeah. And then you like confirmation by like all the instances, like what pops up in your mind, it's like all the instances you were an honest person, obviously. Yeah. So you like reinforce. And that's why people think like, oh yeah, that's so me. Yeah. Like, yeah, obviously, but that's like so everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, what popped in my head with regard to visualization is, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Somewhere he wrote, he said like, visualize yourself what you want to achieve, like kind of like think, and you will achieve it. And like write it down, like visualize how you will feel, and like answer the questions of like why and stuff like that. It's like 5 times why and stuff like that. So I did that when I was in Barcelona a year ago on my exchange. I got certain goals for my exchange, and I wrote that down on the plane to Barcelona.
Nice.
And read it, and like in the book he recommends to read it like every morning and every evening, but to be honest, that's not really practical. Especially if you go out and stuff like that, that's not practical. But what I did, and like what I said, like what's a sustain, what can I sustain is like I read it every Sunday night.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, because like I knew I could sustain that. And I always wrote a short review, like how far where was I on the achievement path, so to say.
Yeah, that's huge.
And it was funny, like I set goals and I thought like, wow, they're like not achievable, actually. Got all of them within 2 months instead of 4.
Nice, man.
And
nice.
I was like, it's funny what happened after, because like I crushed a bit. It's like, what the fuck am I doing now?
No, yes, sure.
Well, like I sort of thought it, but it was like, it was funny to see. And that's again visualization, because like I've read what I wanted to achieve, and subconsciously I somehow tried. For example, I wrote to myself, I want to become a promoter. I've never been, but I know I'm like made for that job. So like,
really? Yeah, totally.
And it's funny, like my first night on my first day at university, I created a WhatsApp group, like whatever. And through that, like I didn't like actually intend that. There was like, I created a WhatsApp group with like all the people and for like exchanging information if you want to go out and stuff like that. And I just did it like, because I wanted to help people. And funny enough, that was basically afterwards a tool that really helped me to become a promoter. It's like I used that as a communication channel, and like, yeah, I just wrote, hey, I'm going there. We have free beers there, or like free drinks from 1 to 2 or whatever. Feel free to join.
Mm-hmm.
And basically just that, like, just pure value giving, and like I didn't want anything in return. I just shared the information, so to say. And through that, like promoters, it's like I always had like a huge bunch of people with me, like became, I caught their attention, and then like offered me a job as a promoter, not like this kind of like flyering on the streets. Like, I was like VIP hosting. So it was like really an awesome job. So that's again like law of attraction. I didn't create the WhatsApp group because I wanted to become a promoter, but the WhatsApp group did a tremendous job in achieving that goal. And it's just like, maybe like my subconscious knew it was like the right action.
I'm sure of it, yeah.
And it was like, yeah, just like create good opportunities for people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because I had like this problem of, as I said before, sometimes I always thought I have 100% free will, I can always change.
I remember.
Oh, you remember what I was saying?
I remember what it was. May I interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
This whole with the free will, that's so interesting, because like we can link it back to Stoicism. So if you don't know what it is, Google determinism. Basically, it's, and actually we probably can't prove it, but the idea is that everything that happens is, like you could call it fate if you want. So like it's predestined.
Yes.
The hence term, maybe determinism. So, and like if you watch it from like a physical level, you could say like we have like all this law of natures and like cause and effect. And basically since the Big Bang, it's like a huge cause and chain actually. So, and technically this will continue. So everything is cause and effect, and every action I take now will affect the future. So basically when you come up with like questioning, then it's like, where does free will in this like huge cause a chain pop in? And that's really a paradox in Stoicism, because like it really relies on your free will to choose your attitude in every given situation. However, if everything is determined, I think that's one notion of Stoic. Like if you watch the Stoic physics, that's a huge element of it. So like they have like this deterministic worldview, but they rely hugely on free will in terms of like choices of your attitude. So that's like, where pops free will in.
So exactly. That's a problem. So in the beginning of my journey, I was like, I have 100% free will. I can hustle. I can change, Then on the other side, I was like, fuck, man, like we have emotional addictions. Our thoughts are also conditioned by society. If I would have grown up in another country, I would think in another way. Like, fuck, I don't have free will. And I guess the paradox is also find the balance there, That's super weird.
I think like, and there's like studies of like what time you actually make choices, and like they hint on a bit that you actually like by the time you become aware of your choices, you already made them. So well, it's hard to prove that, right? But like the direction, like it's hinted that we actually certainly have lots of free will than we actually perceive to have. But I think like it's really a healthy thought to think you have free will. And like I shift, like usually I was like so science-based and like everything, but what I shifted like within like the last 1 or 2 years, it's more like I became to believe what it's actually helpful to me, like.
Yes, so true.
So maybe that's like that's again, using, it's like a confirmation bias, like as we discussed before, it might be something bad, but if you use it in a positive way, so if you just believe what you actually think is helpful, you will confirmation bias, so to say, that one as well, but in a super useful way. Because like, if you believe in the law of attraction, even though you can't prove it, like, you can't prove it, like, if you like watch from the science thing, like, you can't prove it, so it's not there, so until it's proven. But if you just believe it, I think, like, the outcome of your life, most probably is a better one. If you think, like, if you're positive things happen, I think, like, most probably your life is a better thing. So you just believe what is actually useful, so you actually choose your belief systems. And, yeah, I mean, like, that I don't want to say like that's a perfect solution, but it's like you may choose wrong things and like, then again, like the active choice. But, overall, in the overall setting, I think like if you use confirmation bias in a useful way, it might actually be quite helpful.
Yes. I believe actually same thing. Like at the end of the day, nothing matters anyway. So why should you not choose beliefs that actually serve you the best?
Yeah, exactly.
For example, you're a guy, you don't have a lot of self-confidence, or you don't have a lot of self-acceptance. Just believe you're awesome, I mean, it's subjective. Perhaps you're a nerd or you like heavy metal, something like that. For me, I don't like heavy metal a lot. For me, it's not something awesome. But for somebody that likes it, I mean, try to believe that. At the end of the day, nothing matters anyway.
I mean,
nothing matters.
It's so funny. Like people treat you how you think you deserve to be treated. If you act like a king and if you feel like, people will treat you differently. If you can go in a restaurant or like if it's fully booked, and if you say, I'm this and that guy, like I need to, if you just like come up straight, like 100%. The people were like, well, he behaves that way. Most probably that's his normal behavior. So he's used to treat it like in a good way. And they will somehow,
That's true, man.
Whip the magic wand and like make a table appear, like even though they're fully booked. I mean, like it's not that like, it works every time, but like if you have like a huge sense of entitlement, you will get more.
Yeah, automatically.
And in a really positive way, the world is there to be taken by you.
Yeah.
In a super positive, not in a greedy way, like you could use that, like, of course, like, you can take it from everybody else. But like, if you see like more of like a oneness and kind of perspective, like the world is there to grab it. Like, just go and like sit down and be entitled. I mean, it really depends on like what type of person you are. If you have like low self-esteem, or like self-confidence, that might be a useful approach. If you're like the arrogant douchebag thing, be a bit like cautious about that approach.
But it's funny you mentioned that because I did that last week actually. One of my friends is really into style and clothes. And I was asking him, man, I wanna buy some clothes, can you help me out? He's like, go to this place. It has a specific name. It has a place also in Zurich, also in Bern. It's really, really expensive. Like outside of my league right now, what I believe I deserve. Because I was never in such places. But then he was like, dude, just go in and get the reference and experience how it feels to get treated like that. And in that moment, I was like, dude, that's an awesome thought. So I went in with my normal clothes, like I have some style, but I'm not the, I would say, high society kind of style of guy right now. But I went in there and people were like, hello, sir, may I help you? I was like, I want to buy something. Okay, here. And they even told me the price. In the moment, I was like, oh shit, that's expensive. I was like, no, man, like just stay there, get the service. And now I have even more entitlement to walk in the next time. And I know how it feels to walk in there. And now I can also think about it, visualize, and then it will become my reality automatically. Like when I often hang out with really successful guys, like I hang out with Brandon Carter in Amsterdam, and just hanging out with him, I was like, dude, listen, a guy like me, I can also become.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, you mentioned hospitality before, like when the RSP guys in Zurich, I helped them out with boot camps, we were promoted there, so I know like for the nightlife and stuff, I'm like a clear guy to contact, and like obviously I hang out with them. And it's like always funny if you see like big-ish people on social media and like you actually meet them. They're like super cool. I mean, or like other guys like in the fitness scene, the guys from Pro, like they're friends of mine, because like I know them before the brand actually existed. So I was like used to hang out with these guys, and I think like it's like you treat them so normally as well. Like they realize you're not a fanboy or anything. So you're like, yeah, you're just a normal cool guy as well. Like they love to hang out with you. And again, I think like you attract that kind of people. It's like I'm really good at connecting people apparently. That's
the thing I want to talk about here, because me also, I know like these famous people, I know them like pretty well actually, you as well. And it's something I also want to talk about here in this podcast quite at the end, because I know it's something really valuable for people. And my take on it is, the problem with most people is they're in a scarcity mindset. So, oh shit, I want to take something from them. Even it starts with taking pictures. I mean, it's nothing bad to take pictures, but instead of taking a picture with, for example, Max, just give him a book, you know. I also gave him a book. Or instead of taking a picture with Brandon, I gave him some Swiss chocolate because of Switzerland. I gave something. And then they realized, oh shit, he doesn't need anything from me. It's like almost
it's not a quid pro quo kind of thing, but it's just like, yeah, you seek out and like want to share something and you give them something back. Like, I mean, like you've taken so many things from them by watching their videos, so to say. I mean, of course, like they don't feel like taking, but you're not, you know what I mean? So it's like really a sign of gratitude, because like Julian, he invited me for his Transformation Mastery Live event, like I set up his boot and stuff.
Nice.
So he invited me there, and there we had some awesome program. Like, don't want to like make too much like, commercial for him, but it's awesome. And so, and one thing was like, you could like sit in front of the class and like share something. And like the thing I wanted to share, and that's like something after I watched the first fucking Julian videos, like what I always wanted to do is, it's like, thank you.
Oh yeah, me as well, man. Yeah.
And it was like so special for me, just like be able to say thank you to that fucking guy.
Nice.
For all like his learnings I had from him.
Beautiful.
It was like so beautiful, like to share all this gratitude with him. And like he was like really surprised, like wow. And it was like it felt really great for me. So yeah, that's with this like high successful people, I think it's always like Max, I should have quick video with him as well. And he asked like, but the idea was like, how can you get access to those people? And it's just like you offer them value.
Yeah.
And like, of course, like the more popular they are, the harder it's get to them. So the bigger the value it is to, you need to offer them. Yeah, for me, it was like with the RC guys. So you have to always think like what's helpful for them. So like, yeah, Brendan Carter, like he's a fitness guy, like Swiss chocolate, like dark chocolate is like nothing like unhealthy, so to say. Like, yes, it's not unhealthy chocolate. So like, of course he appreciates that, and it's a nice gesture, or like, both for Max, like it's just nice. They offer what's of value for them, and then like they're happy to return their favor. It's so funny, like if you want to make someone feel good about themselves, you ask them for a favor.
Yes.
It's super funny to see actually like people feel good about themselves. It's like they feel used or useful, not useful.
Yeah, useful.
So that's something really funny. So yeah, I always try to give something of value for people. And yeah, after all, like over a lifetime, you will get something in return, like call it karma, whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But like, it will be an equation overall. It's like you don't keep book of it or keep record. But yeah, so.
Yeah. Also, the thing I want to mention in this regard is the thing I'm doing always is saying thank you for the most little things. And people sometimes are like, dude, why are you saying thank you so much? And I'm not actually doing that for them. I'm doing that for me. So I realized, dude, appreciate it. It's like, thank you, Lanny, for being here. Thank you, Philip. Philip also is outside. You cannot see him, but he gave us his room. We were able to sleep at his place. Awesome guy. I always say, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Like, because it reminds me of, dude, this is something we need to appreciate. And it kind of also elevates your state.
Yeah, exactly. If you really like, yeah, you've trained gratitude. Like what I do always in the morning is a 5-minute journal. It's actually the app called 5-minute journal. So you answer, it's super basic, it really takes literally 5 minutes. So you answer, like you note down 3 things you are grateful for, 3 things you want to make today so it's going to be a great day, and 1 self-affirmation. And like whatever you feel like yesterday I wrote something about that like I'm just really grateful for like come here and like meet you guys, like meet new people and like even like maybe get some business out of it and like stuff like that. So I'm really was grateful. That was like one thing I noted down because like you do that in the morning and the evening. So yeah, that was like for example something. So you really become aware of like what you have in life. And I mean, it's like not just, oh yeah, I'm such a thankful guy and I don't need anything. It's not like this rules type of thing, but really become like, just like become aware of like what you actually have. Like a fucking kid in Africa doesn't have it.
Yes.
And so yeah, like really start to appreciate the little things. And I think like it adds up. It's like you just become aware of how lucky you actually are.
Yeah.
It's like you are easy to forget that with all like television and whatever pops up. And like all the temptation takes tons of attention and says yourself, oh, like, yeah, he's faster than me and like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm like, I already have so much, like, you actually become aware of that.
Yeah.
I love that with like saying thank you all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I do it also because there's a thing called neuroplasticity. So you always rewire your brain in regards of what kind of behaviors you perform. And if you train yourself to be grateful, your brain gets kind of wired like that. Like when you learn a new language, your pathways change in your brain. It's the same with gratitude. And then your pathways of feeling grateful will become stronger and stronger and stronger. And as I said before in the beginning, you're addicted to emotional states and you can re-addict yourself to gratitude because your brain is kind of more receptive for this emotion.
Yeah, it's so funny how these things that could help you or they could turn out bad, like this kind of you're addicted to your emotional state. So if you're like a grumpy kind of person, you're addicted to that. But like used the right way, if you like hack it, then you actually can like create a huge benefit. Like as I said before with the confirmation bias, if you hack that thing in your favor, it helps you tremendously. If you hack this kind of like I'm attracted to your emotional state thing, if you hack that the right way as well, you get so much out of it. Like, yeah, it's really like it could like tear you down or it could really lift you up.
Yes.
And that's so it's really like what it comes down to is like your attitude and like how you use the things.
Yeah. So at the end of this video, I just want to give you some practical tips how you can do that. What I would do, you can also give your opinion. Is as you said, like in the morning, do this journal kind of things. Just think about being grateful, or link that to already set up habits. Like again, I know Mario Tomic does that actually, or did that. He mentioned that in a video. Before he eats lunch, he's just grateful for it and for the things he has. So link that to already set up the habit and do it every day a little bit, and then it will just add up.
Yeah, and I think like notion of gratitude and like kind of like link it back to the original topic of Stoicism. You could like this whole grateful thing and like morning journal, you can really like see that every time like something bad happens, like this whole adversity thing, be grateful for that opportunity that you actually can learn something and like struggle. Because like let's say like this typically stereotype rich kid who has like all the money, like why do they tend to become like fucktards? Because like they never had the opportunity to appreciate money because like it was always there, so they never had this like money struggle, for example. So like be grateful for adversity as well, and like because you know you don't depend on anything external, so you can choose your attitude towards it. Be grateful for that, and yeah, like really train like consciously be aware of that, and link that with like a 5-minute journal in the morning, or if you do meditate or anything like that.
Yeah, nice.
Like that, yeah.
So, bro, if people want to contact with you, how can
best way Instagram.
Yeah.
Most probably it's Lanny.Oslo, like I'm sure you will tag me.
Of course I will.
So yeah, and in the future, maybe something YouTube-ish might come up, especially with my new role as a head of social media marketing in the startup. It's like I will most probably vlog that journey.
Sick.
Most probably more or less for the company. But yeah, I will pop up there. But so we will see that. But if you follow me on Instagram,
yes,
you will get an answer about that. So
yeah, what I want to mention as well is why I really like you as a person and also on Instagram is when you watch your Instagram, You see good, also pictures, you know, like awesome guy, like has an awesome life, also pretty handsome, you know, has gains, everything. But then if you really dig deep, you see that you love philosophy. You love all these things. But you don't see that immediately. You just, if you get to know you, because in real life, you're like super funny and charismatic. Yeah. But if you sit down with you and you talk with you, like, oh shit, man, this dude is like actually like intelligent.
It's like, if you watch my Instagram, just like, give me a chance and like, give me 5 minutes of your time, not just like 30 seconds. Like, I look like a douchebag and I am a douchebag, yes, but I'm an intelligent douchebag.
Yeah, sure, man.
So yeah, it's like for example, I started that with the newer post. I always like write a short blog, like thought of the day, and I don't do that for the people actually. I do that for myself.
Yes, yeah.
Like of course, like it's value for everybody, but like the person that gets most out of it, it's myself.
Yeah, like, that's always like that. Yeah, yeah. So, bro, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, bro.
We appreciate it, man.
Was an awesome talk.
Awesome. So yeah, check out his Instagram. Also, if you want to subscribe to him, subscribe. Also subscribe to me if you want to see more. And yeah,
and even if you don't subscribe, watch it. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, thank you, man. And also comment down below. I respond to every comment. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.
See ya.
Peace.